This is my Mod 1 video for ASC 6520 based on the overhead squat assessment video that was provided. The compensation that I found was excessive forward lean. For the inhibitory technique, one of the things that what happens is the quad flexors, the hip flexors become shortened and overactive, and that can be from excessive periods of setting or excessive squat type movements where the flexors become too active, and when you start doing a squat it automatically goes into a forward lean position because they become shortened. One of the techniques, the inhibitory technique that we're going to use to release the hip flexors would be self-myofascial release. In this case we're going to use a foam roller. We would lay out our athlete, put the foam roller over the quad, and roll just above the knee and just below the hip. And we would do that for approximately 30 seconds. You could go to the other side and come back and do that again for another 30 seconds. The next technique we want to look at is a lengthening technique. Another compensation that happens is athletes that are, or the general population that has a limited range of motion in their ankle, unable to go into a dorsiflexion in the squat. A couple things that we can do here would be to stretch the gastrocnemius and the soleus. To stretch the gastroc, what we want to do is do a static stretch. Elevate the toes on 2x4 in this case. You can also use a weight plate. You can use a set of steps. And we just want to go into dorsiflexion and a static stretch for approximately 30 seconds. Once 30 seconds is up, we can go to the other leg. Do 2 sets of 30 seconds apiece. I will add another exercise to this one to isolate the soleus. We want to do that in a seated position. Same technique. You can do these both at the same time. Toes elevated, 2x4 or on a weight plate, and drop your heels into a dorsiflex position. Hold that for 30 seconds to get a good static stretch of the soleus. Once again, 2 sets of 30 seconds on each leg on that. The next one is an integration technique. This is where we're going to integrate the squat back into it. We're going to use a goblet squat, a seated goblet squat. Typically, goblet squats are used with a kettlebell. In this situation, I'm actually going to use a 10-pound dumbbell. It's actually a cueing technique. In this case, with the forward lean, we can have our person that we're training hold the dumbbell against their chest, holding the upper part of the dumbbell. And if they get too forward, you can see the dumbbell come away from the chest. That's a good cue. Have your athlete, whoever you're training, keep that dumbbell against the chest from the bottom. And we're just do a squat to the bench, keeping the torso upright and tight, and keeping the dumbbell to the chest and back up. We want to do that 2 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. The last thing that we want to do is integrated technique, where we integrate both some quad strengthening as well as some core strengthening to it, and that would be a lunge, forward lunge, single leg. Cues here would be keeping the knee over the toe, or in line with the second and third toe, allowing the knee not to go past the front of the foot, keeping the torso upright, keeping the abdominals tight, keep from going left to right on the lateral abdominals, and performing 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps, and just go into a lean. Here again, keeping the torso upright, keeping it in a neutral position in a lateral plane as well, or in the frontal plane, and then back up. Do both. You can do one leg, 8 to 10 reps on one leg, and then go to the other, or alternate them. I've had hip surgery, so I'm not going to do the right side. And that concludes my video for ASC 5520 Mod 1.